In every neighborhood, behind every door, there are stories we never expect to hear. Stories buried in silence, until one day, they break through the quiet, shattering the fragile peace we cling to. This is the story of a beautiful lady who left a note, then vanished. Disappeared without a trace, taking her children with her. Her name was Maya Thompson. A woman defined by gentle strength, a smile that carried hope, and a heart stretched thin by unseen burdens. Her children, Jamal, 8, and little Tiana, 5, were the light of her life. Together, they formed a small universe, tucked away in a quiet corner of Atlanta, Georgia. Before we begin, like this video and comment where you are watching from. Your support helps us bring more intriguing stories. Now, let's begin. Maya, she was beautiful inside and out. You could tell just by looking at her that she had that kind of soul that held you up. She wasn't just a mother, she was a warrior. But sometimes, even warriors carry invisible scars. Tamika remarked. But on one ordinary morning, the walls of Maya's world came crashing down. She left behind a note. And then, she vanished. Leaving everyone who knew her with questions that clawed at their minds. Detective Ellis was assigned to the case. A man who had seen too many stories of disappearance, but few that cut as deeply as this one. An interview. When you get a missing person call with kids involved, it's a different kind of urgency. Maya's note was brief but chilling. No plea for help, no explanation, just a message that hinted at fear. That's what haunted me. What drove a loving mother to walk away from everything? To disappear without a word, except for a note so cryptic it echoed like a warning in the empty hall she left behind? Close up on the note, typed in elegant cursive. I'm sorry. I have to protect them. They don't know the truth yet, but they will soon. Please don't look for us. These words were not just a goodbye. They were a secret wrapped in fear. There was something about that note, something missing. Like she wanted us to understand, but not too much. Almost as if she was hiding from something worse than we could imagine. Detective Ellis uttered. Maya was known in the neighborhood as a kind soul, but also as someone who kept her troubles close to the vest. No one had seen any signs of trouble, at least, not on the surface. But in the shadows, her life was unraveling. Interview with Mrs. Jenkins, Maya's elderly neighbor. Miss Jenkins, soft, worried. They were a sweet family. But lately, I heard Maya crying at night, sometimes arguing. She never talked about it. But you can hear things, you know? Even when people try to hide it. Behind every smile, a secret. Behind every laugh, a hidden pain. Maya's disappearance wasn't just about leaving, it was about survival. A forensic analyst showing Detective Ellis security footage from a nearby store. Here's the last known footage of Maya and the kids. They were seen walking away from their home just after 8 a.m., heading toward the bus stop. No sign of distress, no sudden movements, just a quiet departure. The footage offered no clues. No sign of a struggle. No hint of where they might be headed. Like ghosts slipping away from a waking world. Detective Ellis standing outside the Thompson home at dusk. People don't just disappear. There's always a trail, a reason. But with Maya, everything pointed to silence. Coworker 1, softly, steadily. She was the heart of the place, always helping, always smiling. But the past few weeks, she seemed distracted, nervous. Like something was chasing her. Coworker 2 chipped in. She once mentioned feeling watched. Like someone was following her. I thought it was stress. But now, I don't know. The pieces of Maya's puzzle began to shift. What was the truth behind her sudden disappearance? Had she planned this escape, or was she running from a danger too close to home? The city watched and waited. Friends prayed. Detectives hunted for answers. But every lead seemed to vanish into thin air. And as the days passed, the silence grew heavier. What had become of Maya? Where were Jamal and Tiana? The answers lay somewhere in the dark, waiting to be uncovered. Close up on Detective Ellis, resolve hardening. This wasn't just a missing persons case. This was a story about fear, courage, and something darker lurking beneath the surface. Something no one was ready to face. He muted. Sometimes, the most terrifying disappearances aren't about where someone goes, but what they leave behind. The truth is waiting, but it's not what we expect. Days turned into weeks. The rain fell like a veil over the city's unanswered questions, softening edges, but never erasing the ache. Maya Thompson's name was spoken in hushed tones, a whispered prayer, a desperate hope. But beneath the surface of her disappearance, a deeper story began to emerge, a story that no one was prepared to hear. At first, everything pointed to a clean break, a mother running from something unseen. But as Detective Ellis dug deeper, contradictions started piling up. Small things. Details that didn't fit. A smile that didn't reach her eyes. Maya's life was not as perfect as it seemed. Behind the laughter and the warm smiles, there were cracks. Cracks that widened the longer she stayed silent. Tamika told Detective Ellis. Maya wasn't just worried about herself. She was scared for her kids. She told me once, if anything happens to me, make sure Jamal and Tiana are safe. But she never said why. I thought it was paranoia. Now, I don't know. And then there was the note that Maya left behind before she disappeared. It spoke of protection, but what was the danger? What was the truth she was hiding? I had the note analyzed. No fingerprints except hers. But the handwriting, it was different from what I expected. More deliberate. Almost rehearsed. It was like she was trying to say something, without saying it. Detective Ellis said. Darius Thompson, Maya's estranged husband, had been out of the picture for months. Their separation was rocky, messy, full of bitterness and broken promises. But what did he know? And why did he seem almost relieved when Maya disappeared? Darius remarked. Look, Maya made her choices. I wasn't perfect, sure. But I never hurt those kids. If she wanted to leave, that was her decision. I just want them back safe. But Detective Ellis wasn't convinced. Something about Darius's calm didn't sit right. It was a calm that smelled of secrets. Rumors began swirling in the shadows of the city's streets, whispers about Darius's connections, about debts owed to dangerous men, about fights behind closed doors. Unidentified man, voice disguised. Darius owed a lot of money. Not just cash, people talk about who he borrowed from. Not the kind you want to cross. Maya might have known something. That's why she left. The deeper Ellis dug, the darker the story became. Maya's disappearance was no longer just a desperate act, it was entangled in a web of fear, violence, and silence. Detective Ellis voiced. We know you and Maya were fighting. We know there were threats. Tell me, what was she afraid of? Darius, defensive. I don't know what you want me to say. Maybe she was scared of her own demons. His words felt like a mask. Behind it, the truth lurked, obscured, but not gone. Linda, Maya's mother stated. Maya confided in me once. She said someone was watching her kids. Said she felt trapped, like she was suffocating. But she didn't say who. I wish I had pressed her harder. The pieces of the puzzle were falling into place, but the picture was still incomplete. What exactly was Maya running from? And why had she vanished so suddenly? Then the breakthrough. A neighbor's security camera caught something unusual, a man lurking near Maya's home in the hours before her disappearance. A man no one recognized. Tamika, shaken. That's not Darius. Who is that? The man was a ghost, no ID, no records. But Detective Ellis knew one thing. Maya had been watching him too. Inside Maya's private world, the diary revealed a terrifying truth. She'd been planning an escape for months, meticulously documenting every strange call, every suspicious car, every cold look from the shadows. Detective Ellis read out. They don't want us to leave. I can feel it closing in. I must be brave, for Jamal and Tiana. One day they'll understand why I had to disappear. The diary was Maya's last lifeline, a whisper from the edge of fear and hope. But who were they? And why had no one else seen the danger closing in? The community held on to hope, but beneath the prayers, a chilling realization grew. Maya's disappearance was more than a tragedy, it was a warning. A breakthrough came when phone records showed Maya had been in contact with an unknown number, one linked to a private investigator. Someone trying to uncover the truth for her. Marcus Grant, on phone. I told her, the truth is dangerous. But she needed to know. Whatever she found, it scared her enough to vanish. Marcus Grant had been hired by Maya weeks before her disappearance. But what had he found? And who was trying to keep those secrets buried? Maya stumbled onto something big. Bigger than a custody battle, bigger than debts. It was something that threatened to destroy her family, and maybe more. Marcus Grant stated. The investigation was closing in, but so was the danger. Someone wanted Maya gone, and they wanted to make sure no one followed her trail. Detective Ellis remarked, "This case isn't just about a mother and her children disappearing. It's about what she knew, and who was willing to silence her to keep it that way." Maya left a note. But the truth she ran from was still waiting, watching, closer than anyone imagined. Close-up of the note again. The final line, barely visible, is suddenly highlighted. "Please don't look for us." What if the real danger was not from outside? What if the threat was hiding in plain sight? When someone vanishes, it's never just an absence. It's a presence, a weight. A shadow left behind that stretches long after the last footprints fade. Maya Thompson's disappearance was no exception. But what the investigation uncovered next would shake the very foundation of everything we thought we knew, and force us to stare unflinchingly at the darkness within. Detective Ellis at a cluttered desk, reviewing new evidence. His face is drawn, eyes bloodshot. The breakthrough came when they finally traced the mysterious number Maya had been calling, the private investigator Marcus Grant. His findings took them far beyond infidelity and debt. It was a web of deception, betrayal, and danger, embedded right inside the family. Marcus Grant sitting across from Detective Ellis, eyes darting. Marcus Grant noted, Maya wasn't just running from an ex-husband. She was running from a man she never wanted anyone to know about. A man with power, with control. Someone who made sure secrets stayed buried. This man's name was Elijah Carter. A man as charming as he was ruthless. And he was far closer to Maya than anyone ever suspected. Elijah Carter, a family friend, a mentor, a figure trusted by the Thompsons. But behind that smile was a calculating mind, a man who wielded his influence like a weapon. And Maya had uncovered his darkest secret. Detective Ellis examining files labeled Elijah Carter, Investigations. Maya found out Elijah was involved in something illegal, something sinister that threatened not just her family, but others. She feared for her children's safety, and for her own life. Cut to interview with Tamika, eyes wide, voice trembling. She noted, I knew Maya was scared of Elijah. She said he wasn't who he seemed. But no one would believe her. He was too well-liked, too respected. Who'd think he could do something so awful? And the deeper we dug, the more horrifying the truth became. Elijah Carter had a history, a shadowy past riddled with accusations of abuse, manipulation, even disappearances. But every time, the truth had been buried beneath layers of lies, protected by wealth and influence. Detective Ellis confronts Elijah in a dimly lit room. Elijah's face is calm, his voice measured. Elijah Carter declared, You're chasing ghosts, detective. My reputation, my family, all of it means something. If you want answers, look somewhere else. But the shadows didn't run from the light. Maya's note, her diary, even the very silence she left behind, all pointed to Elijah as the puppeteer pulling strings in the dark. Marcus Grant showing Ellis a video on his phone, grainy footage of Elijah meeting a mysterious figure in the dead of night. This was the last lead Maya gave me before she vanished. They're moving something, people, maybe. And the children, they're the key. Marcus Grant stated. Jamal and Tiana weren't just missing children. They were pawns in a deadly game no one fully understood. Tense phone call between Detective Ellis and a woman's voice off screen. Woman, urgent whisper. Ellis, you don't know what you're up against. Elijah's connected. If you keep digging, you'll disappear too. The warning came too late. Isolation crept in like a cold fog. The walls closed in. Every call, every shadow on the street felt like a threat. But Ellis knew retreat was not an option. Maya and her children were out there, somewhere. An anonymous tipster meeting with Marcus Grant in a shadowed parking lot. Tipster, voice disguised. Elijah's not working alone. There's a whole network. They traffic children. And Jamal and Tiana, they're already moved, hidden where no one will find them. The horror was unimaginable. A secret trafficking ring operating under the radar, shielded by power and fear. And Maya had walked straight into the eye of the storm. Cut to Tamika, tearful. Tamika declared, "I keep thinking about Maya, about those kids. What they went through, what they're still going through. It's unbearable." And yet, amidst the darkness, a fragile thread of hope remained. Because Maya's courage wasn't just a flicker, it was a flame, a guide for those who refused to give up. The community rallied, demanding answers, demanding justice. But the fight was far from over. Detective Ellis back in the precinct, poring over maps and notes. "We know the children are alive. We just don't know where. And every minute we lose puts them further out of reach," he said. A mysterious phone ringing in an unknown location. A hand picks up. Mysterious voice, cold. "We're watching. Stop digging, or the next note won't be from Maya." The stakes had never been higher. Every secret uncovered peeled back another layer of the nightmare. But the true horror was still buried, waiting for the right moment to surface. A close-up of a child's drawing found in Maya's diary. It shows two small figures walking toward a dark, looming house. Jamal and Tiana left clues in their innocence, a silent cry for help hidden in scribbles and shadows. But would anyone be brave enough to follow them into the darkness? Detective Ellis answering his phone, a mix of exhaustion and determination in his eyes. Detective Ellis demanded, "Tell me where. Tell me how to find them." The line between hope and despair was razor thin. But as the night deepened, one truth shone clearer than ever: Maya's disappearance was not the end of the story. It was only the beginning. Because in the darkest places, even the smallest light can ignite a revolution. As the world slips toward night, the shadows lengthen, hiding truths too dangerous for daylight. Detective Ellis, armed with fractured leads and a heart full of relentless hope, follows a thread that might unravel everything. But some shadows are better left untouched. Ellis inside the car, phone pressed to his ear, voice tense but controlled. Detective Ellis asked, "I'm here. What do you want me to look for?" The tip had come at a terrible cost, an untraceable call, a voice blurred by static and fear. It pointed to a remote safe house deep in the county, where Maya's children might still be alive. A flashback montage, Maya's smile as she hugged Jamal and Tiana, her handwriting on a scrap of paper, the note left behind, "Find the truth in the place we never thought to look." Maya's note was more than a farewell. It was a map woven in pain and love. She knew the danger. She faced it anyway, for her children, for the fragile hope that justice might still prevail. Ellis stepped out of the car, flashlight in hand, heart pounding. He scans the overgrown path ahead. Every step into the dark was a step into the unknown. But retreat was impossible. Not when two little lives hung in the balance. He approaches an old, dilapidated cabin barely visible through the trees. The door is ajar. The cabin was a tomb disguised as shelter, a place where silence screamed louder than words. Ellis cautiously enters, flashlight beam trembling. The air is thick with dust and despair. Detective Ellis, whisper. "Maya? Jamal? Tiana?" Signs of life. Signs of abandonment. Signs of a story no one wanted to tell. Ellis finds a crumpled piece of paper pinned beneath a heavy book. He unfolds it, revealing a hastily drawn map and a scrawled message. If you find this, don't trust Elijah. The truth is buried in the city where the past and present collide. Look for the place where the river meets the bridge. The message was a key, a desperate plea to keep looking, to keep fighting. But it raised more questions than answers. A tense phone call between Ellis and Marcus Grant. Detective Ellis reported. The safe house was a dead end, but Maya's note, it points to somewhere else. Somewhere closer to the city. Marcus Grant noted. I've been tracking Elijah's movements. He's been seen near the old industrial district, abandoned warehouses, rusted bridges. The perfect place to hide. The city's forgotten places often hold the darkest secrets, where the lost are hidden in plain sight, and justice is just a whisper drowned by the noise of indifference. The deeper Ellis delved, the more he realized Maya's fight was not just against a man, but against a system built on silence and complicity. Inside an abandoned warehouse, Ellis moved stealthily, flashlight cutting swaths of light through the thick dust. This place was a fortress of shadows. Every echo could be a whisper of the past, or a warning of what lurked still. Suddenly, footsteps. Ellis freezes, heart racing. A small voice breaks the silence. Jamal, soft, scared, whispered. Daddy? Ellis's flashlight reveals Jamal, dirty and disheveled, clutching a torn teddy bear. Tears stream down his face. Detective Ellis, kneeling, voice breaking. Jamal, you're safe now. I'm here. We're going to find your mom and Tiana. In that moment, hope was rekindled, a fragile flame in a world too often engulfed by darkness. Tiana emerged from behind a stack of crates, hesitant but alive. She remarked, I thought you'd never come. But even in their reunion, the scars ran deep. The children's eyes told stories words never could, the terror, the loneliness, the fractured trust. Ellis hugs them tightly as sirens wail in the distance. The fight was far from over. The children were found, but the nightmare was only beginning. Maya was found too in a somber hospital room. She lies unconscious, bruised but alive, her body battered but her spirit unbroken. She had escaped the worst, but the trauma lingered, a shadow on her soul. Cut to interview with Maya in a wheelchair, voice barely above a whisper. Maya Thompson recounted. He wanted to control us. To erase us. But I fought. For my babies. For the truth. Her words cut through the silence like a blade, a testament to courage born from love, and the cost of survival. Detective Ellis and Marcus standing outside the hospital. Detective Ellis remarked, We've got what we need to take Elijah down. But it won't be easy. He's more dangerous than we thought, and he's already planning his next move. Elijah Carter was not just a criminal, he was a symptom of a system that failed to protect its most vulnerable. His network stretched far beyond one city, one family. The forces aligned against justice were powerful, invisible to most but deadly to those who dared resist. In the end, this was not just a story about a beautiful lady who left a note and disappeared with her children. It was a story about resilience, about the unyielding power of a mother's love, and the courage it takes to confront darkness head-on. Because sometimes, the truth lies not where we expect, but where we fear to look. What lies beyond the bridge? Who will answer the call? In a world that often turns its gaze away from quiet suffering, Maya Thompson's story reminds us of a haunting truth. Not all bruises are visible, and not every cry for help sounds like a scream. She wasn't just running. She was surviving. Escaping a web of manipulation so deep, even her closest friends couldn't see the strings. Her vanishing wasn't a disappearance, it was a desperate act of love. The life lesson? Listen, truly listen, to the women in your life. Pay attention when someone's light begins to dim. Behind the soft smiles and worn-out laughter, there might be a war no one sees. Silence doesn't always mean peace. Sometimes, it's the only safe thing left. Maya's story is a mirror. It asks, would you have seen the signs? Would you have believed her? Now it's your turn. What do you think happened to Maya? Do you believe she was justified? Have you ever seen someone struggle in silence? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Your voice matters. Like this video. Share it with someone who needs to hear this. Subscribe for more emotionally gripping, true crime documentaries. And don't forget to turn on notifications, more twists are coming. Because sometimes, the scariest monsters aren't strangers in the dark, they're the ones who live behind closed doors. Thank you for watching.